everybody. You have landed on episode number 77 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is September 7th, 2022, and I am your fearless leader and hostess, Suzanne A. Wells. I have 0 announcements this week, so we can jump straight in with today's guest, Kim, who is an everything seller and a repeat offender on the $100 SuperSize thread in my Facebook group. And Kim shares her insights into selling all kinds of stuff. So here we go.
Hey, listeners, we are back with another seller chat, and we have Kim with us today. Another Kim. I think you're the third Kim.
Popular name.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get started with where you're located.
I am located in a suburb of Houston, Tomball, Texas. It's northwest of Houston, Texas.
Okay. And so how is the thrifting? I'm guessing that's what you do to get your inventory.
Yes. The thrifting here is amazing. I have a lot of Goodwills, which is where I get the majority of my inventory is Goodwill. I do some shopping at Family Thrift also. But I have several Goodwills within 5 miles of my house. So I go pretty much every day, other than the weekends. I try to take the weekends off, but I have one really good one that's it's like 3 miles from my house.
So how often do you go shopping?
I go shopping Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Every day. The Goodwill that I go to is located in a complex where the post office is at the other end of it. So there's a little post office inside of a store that I go to that's like a really nice hidden secret. So no lines, everybody's friendly. So I go there every day to drop off my inventory, or not my inventory, but my sales. Mm-hmm. And I figure it would be a shame not to head into the Goodwill since I'm right there.
Yeah, I have a couple like that. I'm like, well, it's just right there. And
yeah.
if I don't go in, something amazing might not be there when I do go back.
Exactly.
So you have a death pile?
I do have a death pile, but it's not very big. I never did until COVID. And now I've decided I never won't have a death pile. But I could list it very easily in a couple of days if I wanted to. It's not out of control or anything like that, but I do have a pile.
Well, and I've gone back to having some on reserve.
Yes.
I mean, a pile could be 20 things. It could be 500 things.
Right.
My issue is I start my day and I do my video and podcast work and classes for my school. I do all that while I'm fresh in the morning and work from maybe 8 to 1 or 2. And then I got to have a break from the computer.
Yeah.
And so I go to the post office and run my errands and stuff. And sometimes I'm just like, I need more stuff, but who wants to go at 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah.
You're kind of not at your best.
Right. I agree.
I think, I have time to list things, but I don't have anything. And that keeps happening. So
well, that's
I've started stockpiling some things so that on those afternoons where I have enough brain power to list stuff, because that's pretty mindless for me at this point.
Yeah.
Or take a bunch of pictures or whatever, work on it.
Right.
I have things there because that's a different mental vibe when you're listing versus shopping.
Right.
You got to be on your game and be able to look at things and notice things. And if your mind is tired, it doesn't go very well.
Yes. I always shop in the morning. Always.
Yeah.
I'm fresh. And then I come home and I list all afternoon. I'd rather be out when there's not as many people and not as much traffic also.
Right. And then I've started doing multiple stores a day and just reducing what I'm looking at, because I decided a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at shoes and I just had this epiphany. It's like, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't get excited about shoes anymore. I still have some in my store and I'm going to sell those out, but I want to look at what's interesting to me. And it just seems like I'm a very bad shoe picker because
Yeah.
I seem to get home and there's something wrong. Like the buckle doesn't work.
That's
or
the worst.
I forgot to do the twist test and they're
Yep.
cracked, or the heel is separating from the
Yep.
rest of the shoe, or the insert is, really
Missing.
disgusting looking or missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not doing very well. I seem to have to throw some in the trash or redonate them because
Yeah.
I'm not really on my game until I get home under the bright lights and the magnifier.
I think shoes go in waves. I enjoy listing shoes. They're easy. They can be very high profitable, but my thrift store doesn't always have the best shoes. It goes in waves. It'll have awesome shoes. You're in and out and can list them really quick, quick turnaround. And then sometimes it's like, there is absolutely nothing here. So then I'll go weeks and not even really look at them close because I'm already in that mindset like, oh, last time I was here, there weren't any shoes. So
Right.
it goes in phases, but I don't mind shoes.
And our Goodwills, the prices are so random.
That's true.
Sometimes they're $5.99, sometimes they're $8.99, sometimes they're $12.99. It's not consistent. So, I'll see something great and then look at the price. I'm like, but not for $12.99. I'm not paying that. So that's happening a lot more. So I'm thinking I could just save more time in the thrift store by skipping that section. And yay for the people coming behind me because they can have them.
I tend to always scan for boots, for cowboy boots. Those are easy to see. And usually here they're, pretty good brand and they're usually not that worn. So that I kind of keep an eye out for every time. Yeah,
I bet you do have more boots than we do.
Yeah. But they mark them up.
What's that?
They mark them up.
Oh.
They'll be like $25, sometimes $20. I've seen them as high as $50. And it's like, who really at a thrift store? Who's going to pay that?
I know. That's insane.
Yeah.
Just who's pricing this stuff? It's so inconsistent. It's so random.
I talked with a Goodwill manager a while back. This was probably a year ago. And she told me that her idea was to price all shoes the same. Like at my Goodwill, all shirts are $5.99. All shorts are $4.99.
They do it for everything else.
Yes. And she said, that's what I want to do, but no one will get behind me. One price for high heels, one price for tennis shoes, or, it doesn't matter. Just get them out of there. It's all donated anyways.
So this was a manager or just an employee?
It was a manager at a Goodwill, probably like 45 minutes from my house. And I told her I thought it was a fantastic idea. And she said, I just can't, get corporate to get behind it.
Yeah, it's corporate.
Yep.
But it's weird because it depends on what corporate. So in Georgia, we have Goodwill of North Georgia, which is a different entity than Goodwill in the southern part of the state. So it's not one national corporate decision.
Right. I honestly don't know how it works here, but it would be easier for the pricers too.
Oh yeah.
They could get it in and out faster.
Absolutely. Just make it sort of like a herd mentality. Yep. Everything the same.
Yes. Yeah. But never happened.
Well, and then our Goodwills raise the prices on some items that have been the same price for probably a decade. Like they're inching it up 10 cents, 20 cents. And I'm thinking, okay, that's an easy way to make more money is just how many thousands of items do you sell a day? And now all of them are 20 cents more.
Yeah.
So, it's like Netflix raising the price on your subscription. It's just one click of a button. Oh, now it's $12.99 instead of $9.99. And we're going to make millions more dollars just for clicking that.
Yeah. Our Goodwill has a boutique section and they put the most random things in there. Sometimes it's, things and you look at it and you're like, okay, I can see that that's worth some money. And sometimes it's like I don't know, like just the most random thing will be in there. And you're like, that's not worth anything. Like a chap's polo shirt or something. And you're like, good luck with that for $14.99,
Well, they'll put a Walmart item in there and price it higher than the original Walmart.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not leather, it's not silk, it's not cashmere, it's just some item with a Walmart tag.
Yep. Yep. They do that here too. I always refer back to what I heard you say a long time ago. They can't catch everything.
Mhm.
So that's my mindset when I go in. Even if I see a lot of stuff I normally buy that's in that boutique section, 9 times out of 10, there'll still be something on the floor in the regular section that they missed.
And you may have heard that a long time ago, but I feel like I say it on every single thing I
You
record.
probably do. You probably do. I've been
But it's
saying it for
true,
a
they
while
can't.
because of you.
I found something yesterday that was mixed in with the plush, and it's $100 item. It's very
Wow.
nondescript looking.
Mhm.
And they don't do research on every single item.
No.
These little stuffed animals that sold in the 90s that now those people are grown adults,
Right.
and they're like, oh, I want my little baby teddy bear or whatever they had. And they have disposable income and they're
Yep.
buying them. And if
That's
you look
true.
at my feedback page, you'll see that I get the best glowing feedback on these silly little stuffed animals that like no one's ever seen before. It was just
Right.
baby gunned pink bear or something. And it's special to somebody. So
Well, that's all that matters. It only takes one.
yeah, but things like that, they haven't caught on to. It would be impossible with the amount of plush in our stores to evaluate every single one.
That's true. And I think those they truly just want to get out and get rid of. And ours are stacked. Sometimes they're just so high you don't even want to kind of dig in it because the minute you touch it, it's going to all fall onto the floor.
Avalanche, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
but they do price them. There's occasionally, Build-A-Bears and stuff like that, you're looking at it and it's like $6.99 will be the price on it. It's like,
yeah, some of the big ones or the known brands or like a Squishmallow or whatever is hot right now, they will price those up. I found it's Dandee, Dandee,
Yeah.
pterodactyl, like a prehistoric bird.
Oh, cool.
Like I've never seen that. So that was $4. I didn't even look it up. I think I'm going to put 50 or 60 on it.
Oh, yeah.
Prices are all over the place, but I thought, it's the unusual stuff you don't see all the time.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I know this bird, but I couldn't think of the name of it. But then I remembered it's from the scene in Airplane.
Johnny, what can you make out of this?
This? Well, I could make a cap, or a brooch, a pterodactyl.
Too funny.
The only other place I've ever heard that word.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's funny. So, do you specialize in anything, or are you an everything seller?
I mainly sell clothing, but I will sell, I'll sell anything. But mainly it's clothing. My main thing that I sell is bras.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I sell, in fact, almost all, I think I had 6 sales today and all but 1 were bras.
Really?
So, yeah.
That's great.
They're easy to list and photograph.
Yes.
I can do it pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an abundant supply of them in the thrift stores here. So that's my main thing. But like I said, I sell everything.
Yeah, they're very easy to list and ship. And there's unlimited combinations of size, band size, cup size, color, style, sports bra, sexy bra, minimizer bra, like all the different kinds. And at some point, somebody's going to need what you got.
Yeah, especially I had a lady message me yesterday. She bought a Vanity Fair bra, and she sent me a message and said, "Oh, thank you so much for having this listed. Do you know how hard it is to find this bra? It has been discontinued." And I didn't even realize that when I listed it. Mm-hmm. So she was just so happy that I had this, bra that she's been looking for that's been discontinued. So a lot of times it's people like that have a style that they want and they know what they want, and they just can't get it anymore. But it's amazing what people will pay for used bras.
So that was a Vanity Fair. How much did it sell for?
$25.
That's good for Vanity Fair.
It is. And I don't know why I priced it at $25. There must have been others priced at that same price point, because usually Vanity Fair is probably under 20 unless it's something special.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I've started picking up Vanity Fair just because at Goodwill for me, bras are $1.99.
There you go.
So even if you only get $15 for it, it's still worth it to me. Quick flip, or even if it takes a while, I don't mind. It doesn't take up a lot of room. So
Ours are $3.99, but we
Okay.
have every Monday the oldest tag color, like whatever was 50% the week before. Every
Mhm.
Monday that color is 99 cents.
Oh, okay.
So that's a plus for going on Monday. And then, of course, Senior Day, which I get,
Yeah.
is 25% off. So sometimes I'll pay full price if it's, a
It's a good one.
Soma new
Yeah.
with a tag. Those
Yeah.
sell for 40.
Yes.
I've sold them for as much as 60.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it just depends on what it is. But I usually leave behind Bally, Vanity Fair.
Well, on those 99-cent days, you might want to pick them up. I've been selling a lot of Bally bras, a lot.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I'll
And like I said,
reconsider
the
that.
Vanity Fair, if they're in really good condition.
Yeah.
I don't take them if you can't read the tag or there's, obvious wear on them. But a lot of
Right.
times they're donated and they're hardly worn. Sometimes you can see that the tag was still the white, the part where the tag is still on them, but the tag is gone.
Right.
So I wouldn't pass them up for 99 cents for sure if they're in good shape.
Good point.
But that's just me.
I will reassess that because, you go through phases where, this isn't selling anymore. I'm not
For
going to buy
years I
any more
did
of that.
that. Yeah.
Like I'm not buying any more belts.
Yep.
They sold great for a while and now they
Yep.
don't sell. And I'm
Yep.
like, what is going on? Do people not need belts? Oh, everyone's
Exactly.
wearing yoga pants. That's why.
Right. They need that stretch.
This is a beautiful Brighton belt with the heart.
Yeah. No.
And all the designs on the hardware. And it's like, this is beautiful. Why does nobody want this? And I guess everybody's wearing stretchy pants.
Yeah. Yeah. It does go in phases. And for years, there were brands I just wouldn't even, I just go right past them. And then how you do that test every once in a while where you're like, well, let me see. I just did that with Callaway for men. For
Mhm.
years, I wouldn't buy it because I couldn't give it away.
Right.
And my daughter also sells on eBay, and she said, well, the bigger sizes do well for her. So I thought, I'm going to pick a few up. And I just sold a pair of golf pants for like $25, but they were a larger size. They were 42 by like 34 or something, 42 by 32 maybe. So you got to just reevaluate every once in a while and just maybe try it again.
Yes,
Especially
absolutely.
with the buy-in low.
Right. If you can get it cheap and just do some experiments.
Yes.
Yeah. I noticed, things that used to move, dresses. I can't give them away
I kind of
unless
stopped
they
looking.
are Athleta, Patagonia, Prana, the athletic stuff that you can wear at the beach or wear hiking or whatever, stretchy and comfortable.
Yes.
I guess nobody's dressing up anymore.
Yeah. And linen still does okay. But I don't see a lot of linen at my Goodwill. And if I do, it's usually not in good condition.
Yeah. Linen is so breathable and cool. And I have a specific customer in mind for that.
Yeah.
Older with the 3/4 sleeves or the roll tab sleeves.
Yes.
Because I've figured out that older women don't like to show their arms.
Yes.
If we are not all cut like G.I. Jane.
That's right.
Muscular arms, you wake up one day and you're like, oh my God, I have my grandmother's arms. What happened?
Yes. Yeah.
So anything with a 3/4 sleeve or the roll tab where you can make it whatever length you want. And then, button front.
Right.
So it's easy on, easy off. But with our growing number of baby boomers who are retiring and traveling and going to warm places.
Yeah.
And just like to wear that. It's like a very specific and usually in the bigger sizes.
Yeah.
And the well-known brands.
Yeah.
So it's very durable and it's cool and easy, it breathes. So I don't think linen will ever go out of style.
No. Usually when I find it, it's white, and I really don't like buying white things, but
I agree with that 100%. I like the neutral colors,
Yes.
beige or the blues. Red does not do well for me in anything. It just red doesn't sell for me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I avoid white because usually you get it home and you find a problem.
Yes, 9 out of 10 times.
Black can do well, but black absorbs the heat and makes you hotter.
True.
So those don't sell as fast as like the Eileen Fisher neutral colors, Ralph Lauren neutral colors, some soft surroundings, make some linen.
Yes.
It just depends, it just depends. There's that situational thing again.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah. I picked one up the other day that was a Neiman Marcus brand. And it was a kind of an off-white sleeveless dress, really just reminded me of like a beach, something you'd wear to the beach or a beach wedding. And I sold it for $35. A lady, she messaged me and her daughter was going on some kind of vacation to Arizona. She thought it would be perfect for her daughter, but it was a larger size too. I think it was a 2 or 3X. So I will pick it up occasionally, if it's in good shape. But and that time I got home and there wasn't any flaws on the dress. I couldn't believe it, or nothing that I saw. Fingers crossed.
Well, and it may have been donated in perfect condition, but when it goes through the whole process of the thrift store getting dumped into bins and people touching it and falling on the floor, and it's manhandled through that process, and I think that's where some of the problems happen. The buttons get pulled off, or because they're so rough with everything.
Yeah,
or you can hear them in the back. Things crashing and falling over, and so. It's a process. Everything has to go through.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what are some of your other look for items when you're looking at clothing?
I like to sell men's jeans.
Okay.
I think I heard you say in a video not that long ago, are you over men's jeans, or am I misreading?
I never really did pants. I don't like
measuring
them. It doesn't excite me. It always ends up at the end of the pile, like the thing I don't want to list.
I see a lot of cinch jeans here, a lot of the Ariat jeans here, and a lot of the FR, the Ariat FR. Those are like no brainers for me.
What's the FR?
The fire resistant.
Oh, right.
Yeah. There's a lot of oil field workers.
Oh, that makes sense.
That need that and that are here that, donate it. And sometimes, even in really bad condition, they'll still sell. But it's not like they're exciting to me, but it's like I see money when I see them. So
do you know anything about that chemical process where they make them fire resistant?
I don't.
Like you launder it, does it make it less effective?
I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I would think it doesn't, because you're going to wash your jeans.
Yeah. I wash them before I list them.
Don't wash them on hot, or, if there's any restrictions to keep that fire resistant property.
There probably is something, but I've never seen it.
Well, that's good to know. I think I came across a pair of those once.
Not all of the FR stuff. Some people will tell you it all sells, but to me, I have the best luck with the Ariat FR.
Okay.
But some of the Wranglers do well too. I've sold a couple of the shirts, like long sleeve t-shirts that are Wrangler, that are FR.
Okay.
I find that men aren't as picky as women. I don't like selling women's jeans because they sit, and then they, 9 times out of 10 you risk the return. But men, they know what they want. They seem to read the description. They look at the measurements, and you rarely get, knock on wood, rarely get a return for jeans. So that's why I think I like selling men's jeans.
Well, and that's the way I felt when I was selling men's golf shirts. When I started off on eBay, that's what I saw the most of. So I'm like, there's an abundance of these. And men would order several at a time.
Yep. They pay right away.
This is my yearly shopping. I'm going to go order 8 golf shirts.
Yep.
And if I get them all from the same person, then I get reduced shipping, combined shipping. But this was way back in the early 2000s when eBay wasn't as competitive.
Right.
So But yeah, I did notice that men bought more at a time. You didn't get the returns. You didn't get the complaints. You know, they know what they want. They don't want to shop in the first place.
Right.
They just want to, it's like going to the dentist. Just get it over with.
Yeah. And if they do return something, it's pretty straightforward. You know, it's like, hey, this was too short or too tight or whatever. Can I return it? Sure. You get it back. It's exactly the way you send it to them, and you resell it for, same price or more. So
right.
I do look at the men's jeans, but I don't pick up all men's jeans. But the BKE brand, the Buckle brand, that those do really well for me. And there's quite a few of those usually every time I go. And especially the larger sizes, they have a large. It's like it's not the regular length. I don't remember what they call it, but it's the longer length where it'll be like a 35 or 36 inch inseam.
Okay.
Those do really well too.
Okay.
Same thing with the cinch. Those are usually bigger. Like I bought a pair yesterday. They're a 38. That's a big guy.
Now you've got me thinking maybe I should just start walking down the jeans aisle and looking for these specific things, because it is overwhelming because they all look the same. And you really have to look at the labels. It takes longer. Like when I shop for women's tops, I'm looking for 5 or 6 things.
Yeah.
Cashmere, linen, denim, those SPF shirts, like boat swim shirts that are stretchy, like Lansden makes them.
Yes.
The vented fishing shirts, like Columbia makes. And then anything heavily embroidered or heavily sequined.
Yes.
I don't have to touch everything. I just look.
Yeah.
With jeans, you really have to look inside at the label. You're going to have to look at the size. And I guess you can recognize the design on the back.
If you get to where you do it all the time, our jeans aisle for men is not that big. And I can pretty much spot them immediately. I can spot the stitching. Big Star is another good brand too for men. You can spot them right away because they're usually that thicker stitch. The back pockets with the flap. They're usually pretty spottable. So I'm the untrained eye on the jeans aisle.
Yeah. That it just all looks the same, but you're the trained eye. So
that's the way I feel in the women's jeans. They all look the same. You have to
practice and learn what you're looking for and notice those tiny little nuances, those differences. Like I can do that with women's clothing. Yeah. I already know, that's a Kohl's brand. That's Crown and Ivy. I don't even need to touch that.
Right.
Unless it's a fun, very interesting design.
Right.
Like Simply Southern t-shirts, you can recognize those without even
do well for you.
What's that?
Do the Simply Southern do well for you?
On and off.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on what it is.
They're usually $6.99 or $5.99 here, and they're already pretty faded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't actually found one that I've been like, oh, the comps look really good and it's cheap enough.
Right. I used to sell more than I do now, but they just don't seem to move. And same thing with Vineyard Vines, because that used to be very exclusive. They only had their stores. Now you see that stuff in all kinds of different stores. So supply has definitely caught up with demand, unless it's something vintage or I do look at men's ties. I've sold several ties this month. Yeah. But you can tell without touching those either. Like, oh, that's a Vineyard Vines. Or you can just tell by the pattern or the design if it's going to be higher end.
Yeah. To me, that's a time sucker. I don't know what to look for with ties. I watched a lot of videos and tried. I was like, okay, I'm really going to start selling ties because there's money to be made there. And ours are really cheap. I don't know what they are, $2 maybe. They're a set price for all ties, but something about my Goodwill, maybe they send them somewhere else. They're usually old. They're nothing to buy.
How are they displayed at your Goodwill?
They're on like an end aisle and they have a little hook on them and they're just all hanging and you've got to, go through them.
Yeah. So if you look down at them from the top, you can see, you could just skim through and see if there's any patterns of the more expensive ones seem to be like the little bitty things, like a little bitty turtles or little bitty, some kind of animal or something like that.
Yeah.
I sold an Hermes tie last month for $70. I had
Wow.
a year almost, and it was little tiny owls.
Oh, wow.
So again, once you start
Yeah.
knowing what sells, but then I've seen some Goodwills that just have them in a big old jumble in one of those baskets, like on the
Yeah.
end of the aisle. They're not hanging.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
just like this big old wadded up thing. So what do? I put the whole wad in my cart.
Oh, wow.
And
go
then I
through
go
them.
through them one at a time,
Yeah.
put them back in the basket.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, how else? And usually something good is on the bottom.
Oh, sure.
It's just gotten to the bottom somehow over time, and nobody looks that deep.
Yeah.
So same with the little stuffed animals. They're
Right.
on the bottom, they've fallen through. So you got to be willing to pick through them. But
Yeah.
I shipped 2 ties today.
Wow.
It was a Robert Talbot with just a little, it was blue with little yellow dots.
Uh-huh.
And then one was a brand called MC Escher, Escher. Never heard of it, but it
No.
was like this pattern of Egyptian hairless cats.
Oh, I would have picked that up for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care who made this.
Yep.
Cool. Somebody is going to buy this because they love cats, and it
Yeah.
sold in like 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
I took $20 for it. It was $2. So
Yeah.
that was so easy.
Right.
But I was like, oh, somebody working at a museum or, an Egyptian museum, or I just like to imagine who's buying it and why.
Yes.
But I was like, yeah, some cat lover are going to love this.
I always imagine how it ended up there. I'm
Yeah.
like, why did someone give this away? Well, maybe they got divorced, or maybe they had an estate sale and it didn't sell, or I go through
Well,
all
I
these
tell
scenarios.
you, just paying attention to conversations I hear and friends that
Mhm.
when somebody passes away,
Yeah.
they don't know what to do. They're so
Yeah.
overwhelmed with grief, and especially if it wasn't expected.
Right.
Like, what do I do with all their stuff? And then they get to the point where like, I just got to donate it because I'm tired of thinking about it. Can't make a decision. Nobody wants,
Right.
tried to
Right.
give it to the family. No, we don't want that, whatever it is.
Right. Right.
And I used to volunteer at a church, a Methodist church that had a big, giant sale every summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I got involved with them because I used to come to that sale and buy stuff to resell. And then I got to be friends with them, and they're like, well, could you help us set up and pull out, what is most valuable and sell that on eBay for us?
Oh.
I did that for a year.
Wow.
But they also had a job networking program
Mhm.
with, they had a closet. It was like a huge classroom of clothing for people that are trying to find a job and don't have the right apparel. And they would give you so many outfits.
Oh, that's
so,
nice.
I kind of helped them sort through all that. But they used to call like these big donations of clothing in the big trash bags, DPC. Oh, that's just DPC over there. I was like, what does that even mean? They're like, dead person's clothes. They said that. And I was like, well, just because they died doesn't mean their clothes suck. Let's look for them, and it was a lot of good stuff.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
The family didn't know what to do with it. So I witnessed that firsthand, like huge, like a U-Haul full of stuff.
Yeah.
Mom died and we don't know what to do with her stuff. They donate it to the church for their sale, yada, yada. They were members of the church, so they know this is happening. And, they would get entire households of stuff donated.
That would be overwhelming.
I'll just bring your truck over and back it up to the garage and start taking stuff because we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to know everyone's story.
Right.
People that pull up at the donation door at Goodwill, like, why are you donating that? What's your story?
Yeah. Hey, we could make a podcast about that.
I know. It's like, who's going to tell you? Maybe I should stand outside their door one day and just ask everyone and record their answer. That would be fun because the only way you're going to know is to ask them.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And at our Goodwill, it is a steady line of cars. Just, every time I'm there, there's 3 or 4 cars dropping off bags of stuff. It's like, oh, why are you doing this? Did it not sell at a rummage sale or a garage sale?
And I think I've given this story before. Let me say that again. I think I've told this story before. I was at one very busy Goodwill that they always have a line of cars. And I was talking to the cashier and I said, y'all are just so busy there. And all the stuff's out on the sidewalk. They don't even have room in intake to get it in there.
Yep.
And sometimes they had to stop taking donations right after COVID and everything opened up again. They're like, we can't take your stuff. We don't know where to put it.
Right.
So I wanted to say, well, I can help you with that.
Yes.
Just pick some things as they come out of people's cars.
Yes.
But so I asked the cashier and she said, normally we have 1,000 to 1,200 cars a day.
Oh my gosh.
During the regular time of year, but during December when, it's time for that tax receipt or people are cleaning up after Christmas, or that's just when they do it. It's up to 3,000 cars a day.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm thinking, and where are these people that can't find stuff to sell? I mean, like their problem is not enough employees to get it on the floor.
Yeah.
So you'll go in some Goodwills and it's like, where's all your stuff? It's there. And they're like, oh, it's all in the back stacked to the ceiling because we don't have enough employees to put it out.
Yes. That's frustrating.
I was like, well, could I just volunteer for a week? Help you go through it and put some things aside for myself?
Yeah.
Like, how can we tap into that?
Yes. At our Goodwill, I've talked to some of the employees and they are not allowed to shop.
Right.
At the Goodwill they work at.
Yeah, because they're holding all the good stuff.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I don't know. If I was working here, that would be part of the draw that you get to see everything that's coming in.
Well, and that used to be that way in Georgia. And I think they changed it to where employees can shop at the store they work at.
Okay.
That was the rule. They couldn't shop at the store they worked at.
Right.
So that would prevent any, stockpiling of stuff. And I think their focus became not, I'm going to go to Goodwill and do my job as well as I can today.
Right.
I'm going to go to Goodwill and see what kind of stuff I can pile up for myself.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I totally see that.
Yes. What's wrong with that?
I would be that employee too.
Me too. I couldn't work there. I would spend my whole check.
I know. I'd be looking at everything. Like, oh my gosh. I need this. I'm going to put this aside.
What this is worth.
Give this away.
For sure.
Yeah. So let's hear some of your great finds from your Goodwill.
Well, I was thinking about this the other day, and the one that sticks out the most to me is this was back several years ago. It was actually when I first started selling. So my parents were here visiting us, and we ended up going to a few Goodwills, and they wanted to go to this particular Goodwill. And I kept saying, last couple of times I've been there, it's not been clean. It's kind of dirty. I'm tired. Let's go home,
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, let's just run in. We're right here. So we run in and we're done shopping. And all of a sudden at the checkout, there's across from the checkouts is where they hang all the purses.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this purse and I knew the second I saw it that it was like, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've got to go look at this. So I get out of line. My dad waits in line. I get out of line. I go grab this purse. I touch it and instantly I'm like, oh, this is a very expensive purse. Never heard of the brand. Wasn't even sure what it was, but I kind of did a quick search. And I'm thinking, okay, $300 or $400. So I put it in the cart and we go up and it's like $7.99. And my dad's with me, so he gets the senior discount.
Mm-hmm.
We get home and it's, I don't know how to pronounce the brand, but I think it's Chloe, Chloe. Chloe.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yes.
Chloe. And I did a bunch of research, kind of trying to figure out, is this real? Isn't it real? And ended up sending it in to get authenticated or whatever it's called, the certificate saying that it was real. And I sold it for $1,400.
Wow.
Within a month. I mean, a few weeks, went to Canada. So that was just crazy to find that just hanging at the checkout. Just all the purses.
Was that your biggest sale ever?
Yes.
And was that recently?
No, this was probably in 2017. so a while ago.
Okay.
But it will forever be in my mind.
But see, that's an example of the thrift store can't know everything. They're going to mark
Exactly.
up those fake Coach purses and those fake Louis Vuittons, and those aren't real. 95% of the time, it's not going to be real.
Right.
Fake spade with the label glued on, crooked.
Yeah.
Come on, folks. That's not happening. But these other brands that
I never heard of that brand before.
the general population doesn't know unless you are into handbags or you've worked at a high-end handbag retailer or something like that. Birkin bag, everybody's heard of that.
Yeah.
So
you could smell the leather. Like when I walked up, you could just smell the leather, and it was burgundy, and it was just the most beautiful color and so soft. And I'm thinking, how could someone touch this and not be like, wow, this is an expensive bag?
Well, for one thing, the employees in the back wear gloves.
True. Oh, that's a good point.
They're not going to have that epiphany of, wow, this feels like buttery soft leather.
Yeah.
They're just dealing with purses.
Yeah. Yeah. It was meant to be, I guess, that we stopped there at that day.
How long did it take to sell?
It sold in a couple of weeks. It wasn't even a month. And man, let me tell you, when that $1,400 sale went through, my store went crazy. It went up in the, whatever you call it, the algorithm.
Right.
And,
Search
I mean,
results.
I had sale after sale after sale. And I was like, wow, and I noticed that the other day I sold a hat for like $350. And right after that, I sold like 5 things. And it's like, I think that they reward you, I guess. I don't know.
I think they should reward you. Congratulations.
Here's more sales.
Well, tell us about that sale. What $350 hat did you sell?
So I should have looked up the brand. It was a hat. I walked into Goodwill, and I'm in the back of the store, not where hats really belong, but someone had donated a lot of straw hats and Halloween costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, I know some straw hats. Actually, we just got back from vacation and I bought a straw hat at Ross, and it's hot as heck. So I was like, let me see if any of these would fit me, if anything I'd be interested in. So I'm looking at them, and I picked one up, and I knew as soon as I picked it up, it was something. I'm like, okay, and I turned it over, made in Italy. I don't remember what else it said, but it was just a really, you can just tell when something is well made. So
and you can look at the details, and the stitching is immaculately straight and
heavy.
The edges are tucked under, and there might be some little metallic things on it with the brand name on these little metallic studs. And the devil is in the details on that.
So I did a quick Google search and saw that it was like, I don't know, 200 and up. So I put it in the cart real casually, like, oh, okay, it didn't have a price tag on it. And when I got up to the cash register, I think they're like, is $299 okay? And I'm like, yeah, that'll work,
I guess.
There was another hat in that bunch too. And I think it was a Stetson, like a fedora. And I sold that one for like $130, I think. So, and they charged me, I think $299 for that, no more than $4 for that hat too. So some person just donated, there was a bunch of Zara hats, which I don't do well with Zara, but it's hit or miss, but just a whole bunch of hats. But it just looked like, when I walked back there, it was just like junk. It was like straw hats with kids' costumes and, some trucker hats mixed in.
You're right. I look at all the hats now because I found an Eric Javits, Javits, sun hat, just a straw hat, flat back with the brim on the front. And it's a $300 hat, and I sold it for, I think, $150.
Wow.
For a straw hat.
Yep. Yeah. I went back. The second day, I thought, for me, I have this rule: when you see something that great and it's mixed in like that, and there was, like I said, some other hats. I picked up one that's like worth $40. I haven't listed it yet. I don't even remember it's a brand I never heard of, but I went back the next day because I thought, well, maybe they just haven't gotten it all out yet. Sometimes you go back and you see more from that same, you can tell it's the same person, same donation, and that's when I got that Stetson for $130. So my son was just amazed. He's like, you're going back to, see if they have more. Don't you think they already put it all out? And I'm like, well, you never know.
I mean, they could have
Just don't
donated
know.
multiple boxes of stuff
Yep,
and they
and it
haven't
gets-
gotten to the rest of it yet.
Yep.
So it's coming soon.
Yep.
I do that
So-
too. When I find something really good, I think, oh, I wonder if they donated more.
Yep. And I go back to the same place it was, wherever they had it hanging, because chances are they're going to put it right in that same spot.
Yeah, but those straw hats, sun hats, whatever you want to call them, to the untrained eye, they all look the same. They all look
Yes.
like something cheap from Walmart or
Yep.
Forever 21 or whatever. And you would never know there's so much money hiding in those sun hats.
Yes. It's something that definitely pays to take a look at every time you're there.
It's overlooked and you might think, oh, that's such a big hat. How am I going to ship it?
That I did think that, but then you're like, well, I'll figure that out.
Yeah, either get a big box. Some of them you can roll.
Oh no,
There's one brand that lets you roll. It's made to do that. And then from a suitcase packing standpoint, they say to put it upside down, so the hole is on the top, and fill that in with something, and then fill in underneath so it doesn't squish.
Yeah, this particular hat could not be rolled. My husband looked at it and he's like, you have to store it on a hat. I have like one of those head for wigs.
Right.
You have to be very careful. You cannot bend the edges. It'll have to go to a hat maker, and they'll have to rebend it.
Oh, that's reshape it.
Reshape it. Yes. So yeah, I was very careful with it. How it ended up in such good shape in with all that stuff. It's crazy.
One of the miracles of Goodwill. Miracles happen every day.
Exactly.
How does this stuff make it to us in such good condition?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, well, what other stories do you have about items you found or sold?
Let's see. Well, this was a few years ago too, but I found some really vintage golf shoes. And they were, you could tell they were really nice shoes, wingtips kind of. And I listed them for sale, and I'm thinking, who's going to want these? They had the old spikes in them, and this lady, and I don't remember what I sold them for. I know it was over $100, but this lady sent me a message and told me the reason she bought them is because they take them apart and turn them into regular shoes and resell them. And I guess she gets tons of money for that particular style and brand. I don't remember the brand now offhand. It was, I don't remember offhand what it was, but that was really cool. I thought, who was going to buy these shoes? Why did I buy them? They're so old. And then find out that she takes them apart and resells them. And she's like, if you ever get any more, please contact me and let me know. I'll buy them from you instantly. And
wow.
I've never seen anything like that particular style before, or since, but it was really cool. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those old, heavy.
It's probably like a wingtip with.
They don't look like they could bend.
With a kilty flap on it or something.
Yes, but solid leather. Heavy leather. And like I said, just those bottoms with the one spike, not like they are today. Probably, I don't know. They're probably from the 70s or 80s, I would think.
They only had one spike on the bottom?
No. The spikes are just one instead of how it's.
Oh, they're individual instead of those circle things. Because a lot of golf courses, well, probably most of them now don't allow those metal spike things.
Nope.
But you know what? I had a neighbor who had some of those, and that's how he aerated his yard. He would put on those shoes and walk around his yard. It's like, okay, so there is a buyer for everything.
Yeah. The other day I just sold a Scarface shirt, and the guy paid, that was over $100 too. I couldn't believe like an adult would just want to wear this Scarface button down shirt.
Okay.
Kind of unusual. I sold a men's Playboy shirt that was really cool a while back, a couple of months ago, that had all centerfolds on it.
Oh.
It was really cool. And that sold for I think maybe, I don't remember right now, probably at least $100. I know I
would
got
think.
100 for it.
Yeah,
That
most
was
of
really a cool find. But
We never went over how you got started on eBay, did we?
oh, no, we didn't.
Okay.
Well, I was looking the other day, and my husband and I have had this eBay account since 2001.
Okay.
So, but I wasn't a seller then. We just bought random stuff. Neither one of us can really remember. I think he was buying car parts. And
Okay.
I was really big into photography, and I was buying photography stuff and probably stuff for the kids. But so I've always been on eBay, but not necessarily selling on eBay. My grandma gave me a bunch of collector plates. This was probably in 2000 and whatever year the Wiis were really big. The Wii, when everybody was buying those. And I
Yes.
sold all of those and ended up buying the kids a Wii. So
Okay.
that was kind of like a little bit of the bug, but that was probably 2007, maybe.
I was thinking 2006 because my
Six.
kids had a Wii. And
Yeah,
we didn't get it until it'd been out for a little while.
we did too. I waited till they were,
Till the price came down.
till the price came way down.
Yeah.
But in 2016, well, first of all, I should go back a little bit. I find the best things at the Goodwill. I mean, just the best things. And I would go into Goodwill and I'd get so frustrated because I would find these wonderful things and I had no one to buy them for, no one to give them to. And I'd come home and, be like, oh man, I can't stop thinking about that. That was such a nice, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And my mom told me, she's like, you should start selling that stuff that you find on eBay. And I'm like, no, I don't want the headache with that. You'd have to get an accountant. You have to figure out taxes. And I'm just not going to do that. So that was kind of like an idea in the back of my head, but didn't do anything with it. And then in 2016, my daughter had a major clean out she was going to college, and she cleaned out her room and had bags and bags of Miss Me jeans and, just good stuff that we thrift for everything. We've always been thrifty, but so I'm thinking to myself, I'm not giving this to Goodwill. I'm going to list this on eBay and see what happens. I sold everything. And I looked at my husband and I'm like, I'm going to start going to the Goodwill and buying all this stuff that I see, and I'm going to sell it. He's like, go for it. So that's how it started. I just pretty much started selling what we had, saw how much I could make, and boom, I was off.
That was the epiphany I had because in 2003, I went through a divorce and lost my job in like the same month.
Ugh.
And I never even knew about Goodwill stores.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually looking for another job. And a friend was like, well, you should go to the Goodwill store and see what you can find to wear to your interview because their clothes are so cheap. And I'm like, I didn't know they sold stuff. I thought you just donated to them.
Yeah.
And, so I did that, and I'm looking at everything and I'm seeing all these clothes new with tags, with $100 tags on them.
Yep.
This was a more affluent part of Atlanta that I went to because I thought I'll find better stuff for myself. Yeah. And so I had already been selling stuff around the house just to keep the bills paid, and things that kids have outgrown and weren't using anymore, and was just shocked at you could sell anything.
Yeah.
I went through all my craft stuff and sold crafting books and cross stitch stuff. And I just kept going. I was like so motivated, and I was like, yeah, but I gotta get a real job. So I'm in the Goodwill, and I picked up this black and white op art Banana Republic skirt. It was a size 4, had a $98 tag on it.
Wow.
Oh my God, this is so cute, but I'm not a size 4. I wish I knew someone I could give this to. So nice. Yeah. And then I just heard that booming voice from another dimension saying, you don't have to, you can sell it one day. And I looked around, I'm like, did anybody else like this is the universe talking to me. Yes. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't say anything. I looked around to see like for that. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. It was just one of those moments where you just have such clarity. Yep. You have this idea and it's like, yes, this can work. Yep. So I spent the rest of the time, maybe 2 hours where I had to pick my kids up from school, looking for stuff I could sell. I put $100 on my credit card and that was it. I
Yeah.
didn't go to that job interview. I just started selling stuff because you're right. You see all of this stuff and
Yes.
who am I going to give it to? Oh,
Yeah.
but you could sell it to somebody.
It's not in my size. It's not in my kid's size,
but it's so nice.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, somebody
Yeah.
could use this. Somebody is looking for this.
Right. Exactly. Like, how did this get donated with these
Yes.
tags on it? It's completely unused.
Yes.
But I do have friends like that are just, they like to shop at the mall and they have these gigantic closets full of clothes that have never been worn.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just money in the bank.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, that was the epiphany. And it didn't even dawn on me to look at other stuff. I just sold clothing for a really long time. It didn't even dawn on me to see what else they had back there.
Yeah. I think I went straight into shoes because I found a YouTube video by a guy that does really, I mean, I learned so much from him. I don't think he makes videos anymore.
Was it Tino, the shoe guy?
Yes.
Yes. He did make great videos.
The Soul Advisor, I think is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he started off as Tino, the shoe guy.
Yes.
Then, well, his story was his dad, I think, had something to do with shoes and leather. And so he learned a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he had some great videos. They're still out there. He just does something else now.
Yeah. But so I went right into pretty much into shoes, I think, from watching his videos. And I mean,
well, he's in Texas also.
He's in Dallas, if I remember right.
Right, but he's in Texas.
Yes.
He had a lot of cowboy boots. He had a lot of information on caring for them and restoring them and
shipping
all that.
them.
Do what?
Shipping them.
Right. Everything you need to know about cowboy boots.
Yes.
Yeah, he was very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable, just doesn't do the YouTube videos anymore.
And at that time, as I was saying before, like there was, it goes in phases with my Goodwill. At that time, it was like shoes were so abundant. I would walk in and it was like, okay, I'm not going to buy this because I don't want to spend anymore instead of what can I, you know what I mean? Instead of what can I buy?
Well, and your business changes, things shift. So I don't want listeners to think, oh, Suzanne doesn't want to sell shoes anymore, so I better not. No,
that's not the case.
It's just, you have to keep it interesting for yourself.
Yes.
If I did a timeline of all the different things I've sold, it's like, oh, I was in my Amazon phase and I sold groceries then. And then I was in my, toy phase or whatever.
Yes.
And you got to keep changing it up to keep it interesting. And the litmus test is when you're working on your listings, what do you gravitate? What do you grab first to list? And what do you love to work with?
Yeah.
And what do you leave to the end? Or I'll fix that later. I'll do that later. It's there. Then you shouldn't be selling those items because you're not excited about them.
I agree.
And granted, you can't be excited about everything.
Right.
But you need to pay attention to where your energy is flowing and like, what do you gravitate towards?
Yes.
And what do you lose track of time when you're working on it?
Yes.
And that's what you need to be doing, because the more you love it, the more successful you're going to be.
Yes. And I agree with that 100%. You have to go in phases and figure out, I mean, for a while I was only buying, 2 or 3 things. I would look at 2 or 3 things at the thrift store and that's it. I only wanted to sell the jeans or the bras or whatever it was. And, and then you go back and you're like, okay, oh, now I should look at men's polos and, oh, now I should look at swimsuits. And you just got to keep changing it up and not,
and the market
not
changes
wait something
too.
off.
Yeah. Yes. The market changes. Like, what do people want?
Yes.
Maybe listeners out there sell dresses and they do very well, but the algorithm does not send people to my store to buy dresses anymore. I'm
hoping maybe this Christmas people will be looking for, New Year's Eve Christmas party dresses. I have several of those ones that are like the Lawrence Kazar.
Yes.
Heavily sequined. And man, those did so well. And I've had several for a long time. And it's just like when COVID hit, people stopped going to parties and I don't know, maybe they're out of style. Maybe nobody wants them anymore, but I'm hoping that this is the year that people will get back into buying that kind of stuff.
Long denim skirts. I did so well with those. And that doesn't mean other sellers won't do well. It's just for me, I quit buying them to resell because they just sit there.
Yes.
And I really want to focus on things that sell faster,
Yes.
and that's going to be items truly limited in number,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't make anymore.
Right.
But you do need to evaluate your business and look at what's not working.
Yes.
Do you want to spend your valuable time on things that aren't working for you anymore?
Right. Right. That's important.
Yeah, and I don't think it means you failed.
No.
Like, oh, I'm not doing well on eBay anymore because this isn't selling. Well, you need to look at what are people buying? What is the market? Where is it shifting?
Mm-hmm.
Because it continues to change all the time.
Yeah, ever changing.
And learning new brands and new stuff that people really want while you're in the growth phase of the product life cycle.
Yes.
Like we talked about Vineyard Vines, they're in the maturity stage.
Right.
They've got this huge market. Their product is very available. And so you're not going to get as much money unless it's something vintage that is limited in number.
Yep.
Well, it has been wonderful to finally meet you after seeing all your sales posted on the group and being in some of my videos. I just thought I would reach out and see if you could share the joy.
Well, I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate you having me on. And I just want to let you know, I have learned so much from you. I really, really appreciate all of your videos and all of the advice that you've given. And for like the first 2 or 3 years, my family was like, well, what would Suzanne say about that? What does Suzanne say to do?
You can always ask Suzanne.
I was like, Suzanne this, Suzanne that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
So
I'm secretly famous in people's homes.
Yes, you probably, I appreciate it. And like I said, I appreciate you having me on. It was an honor.
Okay, well, thank you for making time. And are you heading to Goodwill now?
Maybe.
I'm heading to my pile of stuff in the other room that I bought over the last 3 days and working on that.
Well, I'll be doing that this afternoon.
Okay, we'll share the joy silently on that.
Yes.
Okay, thanks,
Right.
Kim.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again, Kim, for taking time out of your day to come on my podcast and talk to my listeners. It was nice to finally meet you face to face on Zoom. I feel like I have personally connected with another eBay friend. Okay, moving on to today's trivia question. What was the inspiration behind the creation of Post-it notes? Here are 5 seconds to think about it. Okay, Post-it notes hit the market in 1980. Dr. Spencer Silver, a 3M scientist, was busily researching adhesives in the laboratory. In the process, he discovered something peculiar, an adhesive that stuck lightly to surfaces but didn't bond tightly to them. He said, "It was part of my job as a researcher to develop new adhesives, and at that time we wanted to develop bigger, stronger, tougher adhesives. This was none of those." What Silver discovered was something called microspheres, which retain their stickiness but with a removability characteristic, allowing attached surfaces to peel apart easily. For years, Silver struggled to find a use for his invention, but that didn't keep him from touting the merits of his creation to colleagues. He said, "I came here to be known as Mr. Persistent because I wouldn't give up." Meanwhile, Art Fry, another 3M scientist, was frustrated. Every Wednesday night while practicing with his church choir, he would use little scraps of paper to mark the hymns they were going to sing in the upcoming service. By Sunday, he'd find that they'd all fallen out of the hymnal. He needed a bookmark that would stick to the paper without damaging the pages. And then, eureka! Thinking back to a seminar he'd attended on Silver's microspheres, he had what he now refers to as his eureka moment. He said, "This is the one where you get the adrenaline rush." Partnering with Silver, they began developing a product. Once they found themselves writing messages on their new notes to communicate around the office, they realized the full potential of the idea. "I thought what we'd have here isn't just a bookmark," said Fry. "It's a whole new way to communicate."
Now you know the rest of the story.
Yes, I am channeling my inner Paul Harvey. Now you know the rest of the story. I really loved his radio spots about the rest of the story. My mom used to have a AM radio in the kitchen, and I would hear those in the afternoon when I was sitting at the kitchen table doing my homework or whatever. So, yes, we miss Paul Harvey. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my podcast today. Coming up next week is a chat with my eBay friend since 2007, Amy, who specializes in vintage fragrances and other vintage things, and she taught me all about estate sales back in the day. I consider Amy one of my mentors. Okay, that's a wrap. Make it a profitable and productive day on eBay. Talk to you next time. Bye.